Hi, I'm Sam.
And I'm Sam.
And we're the Sams.
We are the Sam. And welcome, folks, to another episode of Sam's Talk, brought to you by Sam's Community TV, creating content to build a community by establishing genuine relationships. And, folks, today we're going to talk about 2023, a year in review. Hopefully, you all had a wonderful year.
Yeah, and I mean, like, people tuning in, we switched rooms. They're going to be like, oh, they switched it up. And we all fancied out in black, starting off the new year right. Like, man, 2023 is done. It's our first video for 2024 for the folks. And if y'all wonder, we so jazzy because we went on our a date. We had a date night. We talked about it in 2023, how, that should be important in relationships, having that designated date night to talk about, ourselves, each other, not the everyday hustle and bustle. But we did it. So I feel like we're starting off strong. But you gotta pause. But 2023 in recap, I would say 2023 is like an oxymoron because I feel like it was long, but it went really fast. Or maybe like the last few months just like flew by. But I just feel like 2023 was a year of a hodgepodge of stuff. Like, it's like you had work, kids are getting bigger, like trying to do all the things you said you wanted to do, and you wake up and it's like, where'd the time go? Or sickness, like, I feel like a lot happened. There were some moments of like memorable moments and then moments of sadness. But all in all, I mean, I'm like, we made it through. We made it to see another year of 2024. So I'm kind of, I'm done with 2023. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. It wasn't the best of the best of years. And as I sip my lemon zinger, it wasn't. It had its good moments, but I'm good with it. It can stay there.
Stay there. So 2023. Well, I mean, I guess I'll just start with the fact that my mom passed in 2023. So obviously for me, one of those experiences that I will never forget. So this year is always going to be marked as a year of remembrance for me. And I think in her passing sort of creates its own unique challenges and circumstances. But through it all, I am very grateful for the family that I come from, and how, we've stayed connected and we're staying connected and we're being intentional about it. And that I really appreciate because my mom absolutely was the glue. Like, that was what she did. She brought people together. She kept us together. So I think seeing the effort that we're all taking individually to make sure that we are part of each other's lives is not only important, but it's encouraging, because you realize that, mom has mothered us. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are capable and able to sort of carry the torch. We've been shown, she's given us enough instruction. It's really just up to us. We know what to do in order to stay together. The question is, are we going to do it? And so,
yeah, and I think what you said, intentional, is important because more people, like, you need more intentionality to, again, stay together, communicate, talk to each other, reach out, things like that. And I feel like sometimes when that's lacking, or you say, oh, I'm just too busy, then, so much time passes, or so then you and your family, the being intentional on connecting, spending time together, things like that, I think is a great thing, because a lot of times people, especially in their grief, because you don't get over it, you got to get through it. And for some people, it's a longer span, forever going through, but you have to be intentional to really just stay connected, with your loved ones. So I think that is great. What I was going to also say was the best thing I think that came out of 2023 for me was the trip to Guyana. And I know we're going to talk about it later, but that was the best piece of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is something we are going to talk about, but why don't we start there?
Are you sure? Okay. We can do what we want, right? It's Sam's talk. So, okay, since we're starting there, I have been wanting to go for a long time. I feel like since we got married, just wanting to experience hearing stories like from your mom, of how Guyana was. And it was just like, her always saying, oh, when we go, I'm going to show you this, I'm going to show you that. So, and then, talking about it as a family, and then it didn't happen. COVID happened, other circumstances happened. Then, 20, excuse me, May, the passing of mom. And then it's just like, okay, is this going to happen? Should it still happen? But I'm so glad that, as a family, everybody went, that could go. And it was just like really seeing, kind of trying to think about things that she talked about, what I thought in my imagination, and just really seeing it in person. It's ungodly hot for anyone that has never gone. The hot is different in Guyana. Yeah. But with all that, it's just like I was already, before leaving, thinking about, okay, the next time I come. So I think that's like a sign of greatness, because it's just like, I'm like, okay, I'm still here. When am I coming back? I'm going to be more prepared for the next time I come back. And then also experiencing with you and your siblings, like the once in a lifetime opportunity to go to Kaiser Falls, like largest falls in the world, taking that mini plane ride, like you're in a sardine can. Surviving that, and then seeing these falls and like the jungle, where it's just like, how can, like, it was just absolutely beautiful. It makes you just want to see more of the world, and I'm not an outdoorsy person at all, but I like, adventure and seeing new things and experiencing new things. And I just feel like looking around at the falls and basically like pieces a piece of the world. It's just like how you can't, like, God isn't everything. Like, seeing a double rainbow. It was just, it was a wonderful experience. I thought the Amazon, I was ready for it to take me on the walk back because I was done. I had some revelations there where it's just like, I got to get in shape because I was ready. Just leave me here to die. And then you reminded me that we have 2 small children. But I'm just like, just take me, jaguars, snakes, and bears, because I'm not going to make it back.
Just
Which way to go?
straight. So it's a tour guide behind us, but let this be sort of one of those indicators, babe, for us personally, right? Of what we got to do, because our kids are only getting older and they're only going to want to do stuff. We're going to be able to do it with them.
But I did make it back, and I just feel like it was all the cherry on the top of 2023 to end it with a bang.
Nice. So, I'll just say that for me, having the opportunity to go with everybody was something that was extremely memorable. Not having Aubrey and mom there, it was tough. But knowing that we went because of mom's honor, was important. That we made the decision and we stuck to it and we saw it through. I think the other thing that we were able to accomplish there was really significant, and obviously it'll have yield benefits in the future. But I think it speaks to just being in a space in life where you know where you come from and you want to embrace all of your culture, as much as you can, and fully embrace it. So I think what we are doing in Guyana is part of sort of our new experience with our home country. You know what I mean? And to make sure that our children have like a working knowledge of Guyana is something I think is pretty cool. The fact that they've been there, at 3 and 6, my first trip I was 27, so they're already way ahead of me in that regard. And I think that's pretty cool. And I know we're already planning, our next trip there. So
They are
that
way ahead of you, Sam. Every morning, science is like, Guyana, I need to go back for my cars.
first card, right?
Yeah, they talk about Guyana every day. Uh, so they it's in them. It's in them.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, like for them to, again, learn the culture, embrace the culture, um, and then even the fact, like, of a family vacation,
Mm-hmm.
not vacation, a family trip. Okay, a family trip with different ages, different personalities, and it's just like it went well. Like I feel like, and again, I know I'm married into the family, so it's like I know dynamics are different. So I don't know if you felt different, like with your siblings, but I'm just like, overall, it it went very, very easy. Where I just know, like, there are family trips, even holidays, where like you're clumped together, and it's just like there is some, just not, like, you're just like ready to be done and over with it. um so I thought that was great, like, again.
It speaks to our desire to do this, right? Like, you're right. Things can always go left when families together for an extended amount of time. And the fact that, you know, we not only do we enjoy each other's company, but like, that could have been another week. Like we could have really, like, we're getting into a groove.
Right.
I thought that was cool. And even the children, kind of the time that they spent around one another as cousins, it's important.
Yeah.
Like in this life, I just think that we're in a day and age where, especially with the fact that we're online doing this, right? Like there's going to be a lot of relationships that are forged electronically, but we shouldn't, that shouldn't undervalue the feeling of being in someone's presence and the kind of energy that's created when you're actually in proximity with one another, sharing time together. You know, there's a bond that really is forged in those experiences. And so, I'm just really thankful that our kids took the time to really kind of immerse themselves in family, you know, and we followed suit. So that was probably my biggest takeaway from the trip. Obviously, the Kaishore Falls was, it's one of the wonders, that the world offers. It's the tallest water drop in the world. And so to see that in the Amazon, just understanding like truly what this globe is made of, you know, flying over top is just like surreal to just see mountains of green.
Right.
You're realizing like this ain't Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Like this is a long way from home.
Right. And me asking, where's the parachute? Oh, well,
Right.
here's the jungle kit if you survive the crash.
Look, parachute's the least of your worries.
Right.
Once you get down there, there's unless you want to be food,
Right.
here's what you want to figure out. So, yeah. So yeah,
And I
Guyana,
like the nightlife of Guyana. Like we don't
talk about it.
we skim the top.
Talk about it.
Like I'm just like, he 10 o'clock. No, the party was getting started at 1. Like
Right. That was the
so
other thing that we learned. So, for those who
next
do
time.
hang out, trust me, we're going to be on the right schedule.
Yes.
We're going to be on the right schedule to
Take a
truly
nap,
experience
get
the
up,
evening of Guyana.
get out, start at midnight.
All right, let's start getting together at 11.
Right. Right. But, again, it was like people were cordial, like, hospitality, even, in the club. Like, I just thought all in all, to, I haven't been everywhere, but for where I have gone thus far in my traveling, whatever, Guyana is up there. Like, it was great. It was a good time.
Sorry, you caught me mid-pour.
Oh, you have that lemon zinger as well.
Dude, singing all right. So
Yeah, that's for that 2023 lingering cough that won't is still within our bodies.
so segue. How did you start off 2024?
So my 2024 has started off very quickly. Like, it's funny. I feel like 2024 started yesterday and we're already mid January. I want to say, and I was talking to a friend earlier, it's just like, by no means am I together how I would like to be. I didn't do any resolutions, but I do have, but I feel hopeful. Like, I read something last week where it was just like, if you can take 21 days to not say anything, complain or say anything negative, like even like minor things like, ugh, like, whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, I thought about that. But, and when I'm asked like, hey, Happy New Year, how's it going? I pause. Cause like, every day something could be like, not positive, but I pause. I find myself pausing. And the first thing that comes is like hopeful. I don't know what it is, but I just have this overwhelming feeling like of hope for 2024. So I started incorporating, like, really intentionally, if it's only like 10 minutes of some type of physical activity, doing the bike, whatever. Like, I have started that. I would like to progress on it. Like, I just feel like taking these baby steps, small little goals, like continue to build on them. Like, I want to get
So if the goal is 10 minutes of physical activity every day, I think I can help you.
only 10 minutes.
I mean,
Wow.
I'm saying that is your goal. If that is your goal, I can help you with that.
You can help me with 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll have my people call your people
Okay.
if you're looking for 10 minutes of physical activity a day.
Okay. Oh, it's kind of fast.
That's your goal. Your goal
Okay.
is 10 minutes of activity. I'm just saying
Okay.
I can help you reach your goal of
You
10
can help
minutes.
me reach my goal. Okay. All right.
Correct.
We can see how that goes.
Sure.
Um, and then like, and then trying to every day, like declutter or organize. Like this don't fit, don't keep it. Like, why am I holding on to this? It's just like really just it's hard because I know I got a smidgen of hoarder in me, but it's just like let the stuff go. Because you know another thing I'm realizing or hearing or seeing, like when you die, someone else has to go through all your stuff. And it's like tomorrow isn't promised. And if someone wants to go through all my stuff right now, they're going to be like, what in the world, Samantha? Like, so, yeah. So I feel like 2024 is going okay. It started a little bit busy, but really just trying to incorporate that balance early on. So then that way it can go see, hopefully as seamless as possible for the rest of the year. That's where I am with it. But I feel like hope is 2024 for
Hope
me.
is 2024.
For me, yeah.
Got it.
What about you?
I think I'm along the same lines. I feel like this is a year of transition for me. I think this is absolutely a very pivotal year for me. There are things that uh, I need to give birth to, and I know that 2025 would be too late. So it's time to give birth, and I think there were experiences that I could even draw from as recent as Guyana in terms of preparation meeting opportunity. And so to even think about what we experienced there, where there was like message to take that away going into 2024, just knowing if you're prepared, the Lord is going to make a way, but you have to do your part in being prepared.
Right.
So to
Stay
me,
ready so you don't gotta get ready.
there it is. Stay ready so you don't gotta get ready. So that's my motto for 2024. I'm gonna stay ready because it's time.
All right, I like it.
It's time.
I'm excited. Ooh, it's like sexy.
In terms of actual goals, fitness will be a goal of mine, continual goal of mine. And so, that's something that again, like I said, I can help you with 10 minutes. I'll probably have my goals probably a little bit loftier in terms of total minutes per day. But I do realize that it's essential to my own desires. It's like the things that I desire, I cannot achieve if I'm not in a better physical condition.
Right.
And also I think it's about realizing that at 43 years old, there's certain maintenance components that are just part of life for me at this point, and I can't escape it. So I should own it, embrace it, and realize that there's maintenance here.
Right. And it's just like, for me, I feel like weight has been a battle forever. Like it's always been something where it's like it's so easy to get on, but it's so hard to get off. But with the like knowing that we have small kids, it's like trekking through the Amazon and it's just like being winded and tired, drenched. Like I'm sure even if I was at my goal weight, I would still be drenched, but because it was just so hot. But it's just like physically feeling like, you know what? I just want to give up. I'm like, okay, Samantha, I don't want to wake up one day and be like, what you coulda, woulda, shoulda. and I could do it now. And
Right.
even like the 10 minutes, like I know, like that's just a starting point where it's just like, okay, start here to progress, you know. But like even with that, like the 10 minutes, like I add like physical activity, but then also like just trying to take time to sit still, meditate, if you want to call it, be still. Like it's also because I feel like I used to do it way back when, and it's like I need it now. Like I need to I needed to continue, but it was just like life be lifing,
Right.
and I just feel like okay, you can incorporate 5 minutes to sit still and meditate, pray, whatever it is, but just get back to center.
Yeah.
Um, and even like for me, I've even, you know, I love sweets and sugar, like, you know, but even like consciously thinking and being mindful, like, okay, already had something. I don't already had, or I already had a donut. I don't need this right now. Let me try something healthy or whatever. Or later, I want that. So let me not, you know. So I just feel like lately I've been pausing more to think
Mm.
instead of just, oh, it's right there. You only live YOLO. You only live was like, you know, and you I can't think like that. Like, so it's just like it's a battle for me. So I have to, you know, also like take the steps of healthy snacks and stuff like that. Or don't buy it so it ain't in the house, you know, type thing.
I think YOLO though can be applied both ways. You know, YOLO doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do everything immediately. YOLO also might be this is a long-term goal I have and I want to pursue it. And part of that long-term pursuit means short-term sacrifice. But it's
Right.
still YOLO.
But
It's like,
see, I feel like YOLO, like in the past, or how I thought about it, like with this, is like, okay, you only live once. So I'm going to have that decadent chocolate, triple chocolate cake.
right. I agree that that's how some people will be applying it. But there are others who are saying, hey, I only live once. This dream I have, I want to give birth to it. I only live once.
Got you.
You
Right.
know, my purpose, it's like I only live once. I want to find my calling. I
Right.
only live once. You know, I don't want to just keep going through the routine, going through, you know, the paces when I realize there's something more, there's something greater for me to do. YOLO, you know?
Right.
So I'm just saying that there's two ways to approach that. You know, there's the immediate gratification, but then
Mm-hmm.
there's also the long term reward because
Right.
you only live once. So it's like if I don't set the time to work on doing this now, it's not just going to happen by osmosis later.
Right.
You
If
know,
if if only, if only I'm I told the tour guide when we were walking, I'm like, man, if I was down here for 1 month, I said I'll be down to my goal weight, all this walking and sweating. Like, whew.
man, can you imagine being out there with one of them like sweatsuits?
Ugh,
Those- Listen, I shred up there too, man. You can't help it. Like between the heat and the terrain,
yeah.
like it's just what it is. You know.
Well, next time I pack my suit and I just sit outside, cook the pan away.
All right, here we go. So recently, you had the pleasure of going to see a classic movie, a remake
Right, a remake of a classic.
of a classic movie, The Color Purple. Why don't you give us your 2 cents review on The Color Purple?
Okay, so first, let me just say the original. Okay, I'll start this way. I've never read the book. I do plan on reading the book now. I seen the original. I've seen the original. Um, it is one of my top favorites. I can cite the lines without audio. like it's a movie that I know, like Coming to America. Like I know it front to back. Um and absolutely love it. So when this one was coming out, I'm like, I have to see it. I went to go see it. Um I have to say that it was very good. It's a completely different movie. Okay. Um, so I'm going to start with the things I liked about the movie. I liked the fact that I thought it was beautiful to see so many people of color, so many brown, black people dancing, singing all throughout the movie. Because I feel like the original, you see like the same 12 black faces, you know? But it was just so nice to see, like, just. And when I started watching it, it made me feel like I was in a play because it's a musical, basically. Like, you know. Now I never saw The Color Purple as a play, but I know they have one. But that's what I thought of, like, when I first saw it. I was like, oh wow, this is like a play. I enjoy plays. This is great. What I have to say, and it's not negative, it's just a few critiques, okay? Where at the end, I was like, whoever did this movie, did they not see the original? And then I'm like, oh, well, it was Oprah and Steven Spielberg who did the original. And I'm like, well, they should have rewatched it, because I just feel like yes, people are saying they went from the book, but I feel like from the original, they swapped. There are scenes that they swapped. Like in the original, it went one way, and then this way they put it before the other, where it's like, well, that don't really match. There was also scenes where I felt like it was rushed, where it's like there could have been more dialogue. Like it in the original, it was layered. Like another thing where they took out certain things, where it's just like I know I read a lot of reviews where it said, like, you know, regarding all the trauma, they kind of masked it or kind of made it look like you had to like use your imagination or whatever, like, you know, to not trigger people. But in the original, there were scenes that I missed in this one, where like when Suge comes married to Albert and Celie, right?
Okay.
They answer the door, and it's like, that's like a moment where Celie and Mr. kind of stuck together.
Right.
And it was like, you know, they were
both like
in sync. Like it was like
it's funny because they were in sync even getting together. Like, you know, if I remember that scene correctly, when they heard Suge approaching, even how they got
right.
first, it was like
they were excited.
Right.
They're excited.
But more than just being excited, because before, his excitement meant like a shoe over the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like she was like, "Oh gosh, here comes this person."
Right.
But then it got to the point where they're both just flowing together in excitement.
Hey, Suge, right? And they get to the door, and she says she married, and they stuck together. We got colds, like, you know, whatever. So, but it was in this movie, they don't have that. Okay. And then another piece, like, was like, when Suge is like singing to her father for him to re-embrace her. In this movie, it's like 2 lines of singing. And that song, oh, I want to tell you something. I can't sing, I know, but it is moving. People want to get up out their seats
It's
They
a
want to
very moving part.
cry with
It's
the
a very
embrace.
moving part of the movie.
Right.
Like there's a lot of tears shed over
Right.
like
And
that
this,
scene alone.
and in this one, it was just like a glance over, like,
And I think it's symbolic because I feel like, for people who do have, good relationships either with their parents or just a loved one and things have gotten rocky over time, and just like that reconciliation, like that's meaningful.
right.
So, the fact that what you're saying in terms of not parking there to really acknowledge that part of our own lives, I think that's, you know, the way you're describing, I feel like that may have been a missed opportunity.
Right. Like that was a pivotal song. Like it would, so that, I feel like even like the meal scene where you have Celie, you have Mr. his dad, you have Suge, Grady, like you have all them at the table. It's layered. You
So,
have Sophia.
yeah.
It's a layered because there's a conversation happening. Celie gets fed up, like, all this. And that was 2 seconds. And even the rush of
And their scene was 2 seconds?
it was very rushed. There wasn't a whole lot of dialogue. It went right to Celie being like,
Like having her.
right, like going towards him, then them like breaking it up. And then even like coming out of the house where, she explains how she's been feeling every time you
Right.
think
Did she
about
hurt
me. Right. It just felt blurted out. Like, everything you think about is going to crumble. Like, even just you're ugly, you're poor. Like, it just felt like, oh, let me hurry up and say this. Like,
Well, okay, so here's me playing devil's advocate, right? We talk a lot about this generation,
okay.
right? And how just as a society, like things are just different, right? What if part of the reason that those scenes did not have carried the same weight that they did in the past is because there's a realization or thought that this generation won't stomach it the same way we stomached it in the 80s. Like Twitter would be on fire.
You're poor, you're black, you're ugly. Like, it was just like,
21-year-olds like, wait a minute, say what? Can't do that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
so maybe that's part. I'm just again, I haven't seen it.
Right.
Just as
so,
ideas to maybe what the thought process was.
They added new scenes, fine and dandy, whatever.
Remake.
The one thing I feel like they missed the mark on at the end, there was no purple.
There
like
was no what?
Purple. So the original, it ends there. Celie and her sister come from Africa. At the end, they're together in the fields. Right?
So there's no color purple.
They mention it when Suge and Celie are walking through the field, and she says, I believe it pisses God off if you walk past the color purple and you don't acknowledge it. But at the end, I feel like it's an Easter dinner. I feel like they could have CGI'd the trees with purple flowers, or the tablecloths could have been purple. People could have been wearing purple. Everybody was wearing white. Like even her children that came from Africa, and in the original, like they're in the colorful African garb. They're wearing white, and it's like black and white pattern. So it's just like, and they changed Adam's wife's name, but that doesn't matter. Whatever.
Adam. Who was Adam?
Her son.
Celie's son?
Yes.
I don't remember Celie's son.
Remember Celie, Olivia, and Adam.
Right. They were in Africa.
Right.
Her children in Africa.
Right. And then at the end, they come back. They speak African. Here they spoke English. And the accent wasn't even strong. Like they wouldn't have known, like English wouldn't have been there. I don't know. But in the original, they are speaking African. Mama Boni. Like so, but there was no purple. Like
that part I find just to be a little disappointing.
Right.
That you don't have the visuals of it. Like it's one thing to talk about it, but it's a movie, and
right.
like that whole scene tied it all together.
Right.
You know,
so it was just like that was like editing messed up on that big piece. Also editing messed up because in the original, you know how Celie got the pants store, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's from that point on, from that store, Celie was wearing pants. So now you have Fantasia as Celie in the pants store singing, and she wearing a dress. Oh, I'm sorry. Another piece I remember where I missed in the original, it was heartfelt when Mr. went to the juke joint when Harpo and Sophia were back together. And he comes drunk and he says to Sophia, like, you know, something like, "I glad you back," or like you and Harpo, whatever. Like, whatever. It was very heartfelt. Like he meant it. Long time coming. And then Sophia tells Harpo to, like, you know, take your father home or whatever. That did not happen. He did say something to Harpo, but then he got all angry or whatever, and they started. But it's just like that piece was like, you know, because there are people in those relationships where it's like you marry into the family, the parent or parents may not, like, you know, y'all oil and vinegar, and then at some point it's like you hope like there's some kind of, and that didn't happen. But all in all, I would say see the movie. It's a very good movie. If you never saw the original, I'm sure you probably love it. To me, it's two different movies.
Gotcha.
It's two different movies. But like visually, like, you know, it was good. It was good. And the dancing, it's a lot of singing. So if you don't care for musicals,
I don't know, man. West Side
I'm not saying you. I'm just saying
in general.
In general, if someone doesn't care for musicals, it's a whole lot of singing. But original still my A1 day one.
And that's generally how it goes.
And that's my 2 cents.
2 cents. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So for our final topic of the day, now this one, folks, what I'm about to show her. So I'm just going to let her read the ticket that's going to scroll across this page.
A surprise? You see how he likes surprising me, folks?
3, 2.
Who?
So Eric Spoelstra is the coach of the Miami Heat. He was on the coach when LeBron James and Dwayne Wade were winning championships. He's a lifer in the organization, started in the film room under Pat Riley.
Okay.
He was just offered an 8-year extension for $120 million, making him the highest paid coach in North American history. That was the headlines. The next day, Twitter and Instagram and every other, you know, Reddit started going crazy because of the realization that this deal, this extension was offered after the finalization of his divorce, which I think went final in November of 2023.
Okay, so he's a really good coach, right?
Really good coach.
He deserves this money?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, I'm just trying to get, because again, I don't know who this person is.
Yeah, so it's not about whether or not he's worth the money.
Okay, so he's worth the money. It's that he only got the deal because he finalized his divorce?
No, he didn't only get the deal because he finalized the divorce. They
It
finalized
closed.
the deal after he finalized his divorce.
So are you
They could have
thinking,
extended him before, but they didn't.
so do you think he did that or they did that? Like, is his wife someone like messy?
So here's how I look at it. He is a lifelong person in this organization, right? Like he started as like a 20-year-old in the film room. So they intimate like and the thing about professional sports in the USA, especially like football, they always talk about the good old boys network. It's
Hmm.
really like the family business, right? Like that's how these organizations are generally run. It's a family business. You don't let go of these organizations. You just pass them down to family. So
Right.
Eric Spoelstra is kind of like the family of the Miami Heat. You know what I'm saying? Like I believe his father may have had some kind of professional coaching, something or other. You know, like that's maybe how he got in the door, but he started at the bottom. You know, he really was a
Okay.
grinder. And like so there was nothing given to him. He earned it all.
How long were they married?
I don't know.
Well, let's look it up. Um, so I find it so it's interesting because it's like since they are divorced now, she is not entitled to any of this money
Correct.
in alimony.
Correct.
Um,
So she gets alimony, I'm assuming, off of whatever he was making at the time.
right. Um,
And granted, you know, we're still talking about a person that is not that has done well for himself financially.
right. So I mean, she shouldn't. Got married in 2016. No.
No, I'm saying I'm shaking my head.
Okay, so they got married in 2016. So like the first thing I pulled up when I pulled them up, it says ex-wife fumes over fumble of the bag.
Right. Now, I think she is fuming because that's how people are like positioning it.
I feel so if she is, that's ridiculous because I'm sure you're not missing not near one meal or handbag with whatever he was making previous that you are getting half of.
Say it again.
I said that if she is fuming over this, it's ridiculous because she is not missing a meal or a handbag for whatever she's getting half of before the 180 mil. I mean 120 mil. Like it's not like he was broke. She was
Right.
with him grinding, riding. He divorces her and then the next month he becomes a millionaire.
Right.
He was already a millionaire. And his kids ain't gonna be hurting. So you can miss me with that.
Let's see if we can listen to this about contract details. Let's see.
Miami. Heat coach Eric Spoelstra has agreed to an 8-year contract extension worth more than $120 million, the most committed money in North American coaching history, according to our senior insider Adrian Wojnarowski. Spoelstra, who has won 2 championships and reached the NBA Finals 6 times, is now locked in with the only franchise he has ever coached. And look at here. Heat royalty chimed in on social media to salute their former coach. LeBron posting worth every single cent, and D Wade followed up with 8 money bags for the 8-year deal, of course. Adrian Wojnarowski is back with us now. What does this extension, Woj, mean for Spoelstra and the Heat?
I'm looking. Listen, the Heat are acknowledging what everybody in the league knows. Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. If he had a draft, he made every coach available, he'd be the #1 overall pick. And what's unique about that is it wouldn't matter if you had a team in a rebuild, if you had a team in the middle you were trying to get to the playoffs, or if you had a championship team, because he's shown he can coach all of them. And I think for Eric Spoelstra, this is all he's ever known. The Miami Heat organization started in the video room under Pat Riley and then moves up 2 championships. A coach who, a few years ago told me on my podcast that he thought about the idea of someday having the dual role of Pat Riley as president and coach whenever Pat Riley leaves him. He may outlast Eric Spoelstra. Pat Riley may outlast everybody in Miami. But this is the most money any coach in North American professional sports has been guaranteed over the course of a deal. There's coaches who make more.
Yeah.
Greg Popovich makes about $19 million a year. This is a $15 million a year average. And there's coaches in the NFL who make in the 20s, but over 8 years takes us over $120 million. And I think for the Miami Heat, you know, it is a recognition that they have somebody that is so unique and an organization that their success has been built around the continuity and the understanding of a front office and a coaching staff. They know what kind of players to get them. They know who can play for them. And his ability to, and his staff, to develop young players, to take guys who are undrafted, who don't make much money, who've been on the scrap heap, who've been cast aside, and build them into a part of that.
So that's the gist of it, right?
Right.
So that's the gist. So yeah, as you saw about fumbling the bag, Twitter basically is giving her a hard time, saying that she's fumbled the bag, and she's responded to that. I think that's I'm sorry. I think that's unfair to say that someone fumbled the bag. I mean, at the end of the day, he was going to continue to earn money. Like, you know what I'm saying? So them divorcing is whatever. Like, that's what that was. When she married him, he was an NBA coach. He was already a champion. So actually, I feel like they may be his first ring. Either way, the point is, like, she knew who she married. She also knew who she divorced. You know, so the money part was inevitable. That's why I just think it's just trolls that be trolling. You know what I mean? That are coming at her neck, and unfortunately, she feels the need to respond. With that said, I think it is interesting, though, that the Heat seem to have ensured that he received the money. Like, at the end of the day, it's not like the deal was done by himself. For the deal to be finalized 2 months after a divorce is finalized, deals happen in the making, man. It's like
but Sam, everything is a relationship. So
right.
It's like he has relationships, friendships, bonds, whatever, and he's worked with these people for so many years. Like
family, like I said.
So it's like
in
they
the clip,
know
he's talking about the dual role of being coach and general manager, or coach and president at a point in time in the future. So he's a lifer.
So it's like, okay, they know what's going on. They know he's in the middle of a divorce. It's like, excuse me, water cooler talk, whatever. Some of them understand. They probably went through divorce and they know what the ins and outs, and she's taking half of this and that and these assets and blah, 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 right? Then it looks like he got 2 kids with this lady. So it's just like, okay, here's what we're going to do. This is what we're going to offer you. But we're going to wait until everything is settled and done. So then that way she gets that. And then this is your new chapter. You get this. Like, she can't touch it or whatever. And like you said, it's like, I guess social media and other people are trolling her and saying but if it's not her saying it, because my thing is like, no, you're lame, lady. Because even with him getting 120 and you're divorced from him, you have 2 kids with him. He's not going to leave you in the dust. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and again, it's not like it was where you hear so many tales of we were on the floor grinding together, eating beans out of a can, and then he gets all his money and then divorced her. Like, he was a millionaire. So she's not.
He was up. He was already Coach Spo.
Right. So she's not hurting for anything. She's still in her elite girl clubs, whatever. She still got the ticket to the country club. She's fine. But his friends in HR, management, whatever, was like, this is what we going to do. And that's what they done did.
Listen, I think you've probably articulated exactly what happened. I think my interest was sort of, how you felt about something like that transpiring.
Again, no issue, unless it was how we hear so many times. We're struggling together, we're striving together, and then you become a millionaire and you leave her in the dust. That ain't this. Like, that is what I have an issue to. It's like, if she has put in the blood, sweat, tears, funded all, like, you know, to you, poured into you, and then now you made it and you left her, that is my issue. This is not that. I'm sure she is in her mansion skiing in the Alps. There's no tear lost over here. You had your marriage, like, she still seems like she's young. She can go marry somebody else later.
Well, that was all I was curious about. You know, you were surprised. You have no idea about this story beforehand.
I did. You saw my face, like, okay, who is he? What we talking about? Like,
no, and I thought that the take, you know, I just thought it was just really interesting that, you know, he has that kind of relationship where it's so intertwined with his personal life that they're just always looking out for his best interests.
Right. And you saying like he's like family. So they're like, and we don't know how this woman is. Like,
yeah, and I don't want to cast any aspersions.
Right.
We don't know.
Right. We don't. So it's just like, but they know
to be what I am still drawing from this without knowing anything is that they seemingly chose a side.
Of course.
You know, but I also think it just is a testament to who he is as a person. Like, I feel like actually, I don't know. I don't even speculate, you know, like if you know, how he was behaving in his marriage. Like, I have no idea. You know what I mean? Right. Like, I'm just trying to think through, like, is there a scenario where, let's say he was just a bad actor in terms of his marriage, but he's a heck of a coach. Do they just extend him whenever it's advantageous to them, regardless of what's going on in his personal life? You know, especially if, like, they felt
yes, because it's dollar bill. Like, if the Heat are winners or whatever, like,
right? Because at the end of the day, like,
he could have been Mother Teresa, like, and he could have been Dirty Dog. It don't matter. This is a business. You are a great coach.
Yeah, but they don't. Wait. That's my point, though. It's not like they're paying him more money. It's just that his check, a part of his check, goes somewhere else. That's not them. That's not on them. It's not like they're going to change the amount of money based off of whatever her alimony is.
Right.
Right. So dollar bill from the team's perspective, it's the same dollar bills.
Right, but being like that. But also, yes, it's the same dollar bills. But they're like, if he's not as stressed.
Think about all the other coaches that exist that have gone through divorces that are sharing that, like, there's so many checks that are going in 1,000 places. Kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like these guys, they're not getting 50%. You know, it's like Uncle Sam, their agent. Then there's like a jock tax per state. You know, if you're a professional athlete, you pay a jock tax. It's on there. It's part of, like, their garnishment.
Where does that go?
It goes to the states. A tax.
Jock
tax. Yeah, Michael Jordan created the jock tax.
Why?
When Michael Jordan came to LA, was playing in LA, it had to do with sort of like the revenue that was generated based off of him being there, and they realized, like, this is a taxable event. And so
across the board,
every professional athlete pays a jock tax on their salary.
And so I gotta look into this because I want to know, where is it getting banked and who gets it? Like,
goes to the state.
For what?
Where did that sugar tax money go?
For free preschool.
Right. That's fair, because we are taking advantage of that.
So keep buying that soda in Philadelphia.
Playing ball, fellas. Like, no. But yeah, okay. Well, listen, Samantha Ray.
Yes.
I think that was a good show. First one back.
Yeah, I mean,
24 after a date.
Yes.
So we did a date in a show.
Yes. So maybe it's like,
maybe this could be part of our routine, a date in a show.
Okay, I won't turn a date down. But I just wanted to say to the audience,
dinner in a show. Like,
you know, again, we talk about it, we're being about it. So it's just like, you can't just do.
So here's one thing I want to say about the dating, because I mentioned it before, and as the kids say today, I'm gonna stand on business. Okay, I mean it.
Okay.
I am really believing in my hearts of hearts that dating is truly.
Did you freeze?
No, I'm trying to
Oh.
think of how I want to say it. The the pure the most beneficial dating occurs after marriage.
The most beneficial dating occurs after marriage.
Right.
Okay.
Meaning like the dating that has the biggest capacity, the largest capacity in terms of fulfillment of dating, in my opinion, occurs after marriage.
Okay.
The capacity for the most fulfillment in terms of the experience of dating, in my opinion, happens after marriage. And the reason I am really starting to just believe it in my gut and my soul is because of once you've made a commitment to someone, there's a level of vulnerability that you offer that person. And when you date with being vulnerable, like it really just opens you up to true exploration. I think when you're dating before marriage, a lot of times you're trying to present, you're
Mhm.
trying to there's an objective of where you're trying to gain something. Like you're trying to gain something. And so even in how you answer questions is all part of that guise. Like I you know what I mean? Like you're not trying to make a fool of yourself in any way, shape, or form. Like they thought that's the last thing you're trying to do on a date.
Right.
If you're married, you know what I'm saying? Like
You
it's
stuck with
about
me.
being comfortable enough to talk about things that you wouldn't share when you're putting on.
Right.
And so that's why I'm really believing that the most fulfillment in terms of what dating can offer someone occurs with people who are married.
Yeah, and I mean, again, when we got married, we said we would have date nights, you know, at minimum once a month. Like, we kept it up for a long time. And then
Started
it
this
kind
year off, right?
right. And then it was like whenever we could. And this year, start off right again, intentional, like, being intentional to do that and find that time, because it's like you could be married and live in the same home with someone and not know them or talk to them or get to know them deeper. And it's just like, I don't want that kind of marriage.
Right.
I want to continually learn, um, you know, hear about, like, just getting to know you, getting to see you develop into, like, as we grow together. So, I appreciate it. And it's needed. Like, you have to date each other, you have to laugh with each other, you have to talk and communicate, and not just talk about, bills, kids, household stuff. Like, how are you,
Right.
doing? What do you want? A goal or future or next adventure. Like, really just, we're all people, and it's just like we're all changing. Um, and it's just like, you need that time to, you know, love each other, get to know each other, get those 10 minutes. Yeah. So I think for the first talk of 2024, this was really good. Dust off the cobwebs.
Right. Time to get back in the swing of things, you know. And I mean, let's take it like dating. Let's take this way. I get to know you more every time we turn this camera on. So we can look at it that way,
Yes.
so that we don't miss out on opportunities to grow. That's how we look at it. Doing this gives us opportunities to grow together. So let's not miss out on our opportunities to grow together.
I like that.
You like that?
Yes.
You like that?
Yes, I like that a lot.
Get your 10 minutes of activity in yet today?
We about to.
Think so. You said you
Bye,
like
folks. Stay blessed.
it.
But no.
You hit the, if you like what we had to say today, please feel free to hit the like button and subscribe and hit the notification button, because we're going to start going live directly on YouTube, and we would love for you all to join us. You know, we'll
Yes.
drop the links that you can join the conversation, and we'll let you know exactly when we're going to start airing our live show, so that you all can
Come in
join
and
the
join us.
conversation. We'll make sure it's a safe space for you. So
Right.
until next time, folks.
Stay blessed.
Peace.